Hello friend, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name's Kat. Today we're doing something completely different. I'm in my living room, on my sofa, obviously, and I'm going to be showing you some of my vinyl. Well, all of my vinyls, but also some of Kelvin's and some of Poppy's. We sort of all collectively share them as we're living together. Obviously some were bought by certain people and they belong to them, but we kind of listen to whatever's there. But I thought I'd just keep this really casual, and because it's got nothing to do with makeup, I felt a bit weird filming it in my makeup space. So yeah, I'm introducing a new space. This would be maybe where I sit to talk about music, or I don't know, just other things. I don't want my channel to just be beauty content because I think I'll just run out of ideas very fast. So yeah, let's talk through some records. The first couple I'm going to be talking about are actually 7-inch singles, and the first one is by Father John Misty, and this is the song Real Love Baby. This is one of my favourite songs ever, and this, Kelvin and I have already decided, is going to be our first dance song when we get married at some point. We're not even engaged, but we've already spoken about this. This just holds a lot of really lovely memories for me, because when Kelvin and I first started dating, he introduced me to Father John Misty, and this was a song that just sort of became our song. And I remember the first time we met, we were just dancing in my room to it, and it was just really nice. And we got to see him when we went to Amsterdam in 2018, I think. We went to Amsterdam and we saw him, and it was amazing, and he played this and it was really good and I love it. I want to get some of his albums on full albums, but at the moment this is all we have, and I just love the artwork. 7-inch singles are so cute. And the other single I have was a gift, which is Why Can't I Be You by The Cure. This was my ultimate happy song for a really long time. The Cure are one of my favourite bands. I've spoken about The Cure before on my channel. I've got multiple tattoos dedicated to The Cure and I love them, and this song is just one of my favourites ever. I forgot to say what was the A-side and the B-side. So the A-side on here is Why Can't I Be You, and the B-side is A Japanese Dream. But yeah, this was something an old friend of mine just saw and picked up for me because he was in an antique shop and he saw it and it was £2 and he thought, oh yeah, Katie likes this song, so that's that one. I do have another single in here, but it's a 12-inch, so let me find it. Here it is. This is another Cure single, but it's on a 12-inch, and it is Love Song, which is, I think this is my favourite song. It's a big statement to make, but I think this is my favourite song. It's an extended mix, so it's a really long version of it. It's really beautiful. I absolutely love it. This is one of the singles from Disintegration, which is one of their most popular albums. It's got pictures of you on it. I actually only have one Cure album on vinyl, and it's a compilation album. It's not even a full album. Now let's get into some albums. I will say what vinyls belong to me and what vinyls belong to either Kelvin or Poppy. This one belongs to Pops, but this is one of my favourite albums ever. This is Annabel Dream Reader by the Wytches. The Wytches are an English band. I haven't really listened to anything since they released this album, because this album is just god tier good, that I don't want to I don't want to ruin it for myself. I know that they don't perform this album anymore because the way he sings on this album, he was kind of scream singing, and it really damaged his vocal cords, so he doesn't like to perform it anymore, which is fair enough. But this album, like start to finish, is perfection, and I absolutely love it. My favourite tracks would probably be Grave Dweller, Crying Clown, and Burn Out the Bruise. It's very psychedelic punk, I guess. Some really, really catchy riffs, especially bass riffs. The bass riffs in this album are incredible, and it's one of my favourite albums ever. I'm going to say this about most of these albums. This next one, so a little story. Kelvin and I used to have a huge record collection. So I will say that we definitely don't have as many records as we used to. But last year we were kind of struggling, and we ended up having to sell most of our records just to get by, and it really sucked. But basically the record shop that we sold them to haven't really sold them, so because a lot of them are just like really old records that people aren't interested in, so we've just been slowly buying them back, and this is one of them. This is Marquee Moon by Television. This is a fantastic album. Another one, start to finish, is amazing. I absolutely adore it. Definitely Friction is my favourite song on this album. It's so good. I love it. And I'm glad that it's back. It's ours. It's done, made full circle. This next record is quite possibly my favourite album. It's one of my favourite albums. Like top 3 at least. And this is Nights Out by Metronomy. I feel like Metronomy are one of those bands that everyone knows the singles. They know the bay and they know the look. But people really sleep on their like older records. So Metronomy is Joseph Mount, and he has a band that he plays with when he tours, the same band every time, and they are my favourite band. I would say The Cure is my favourite band, but I think Metronomy are my actual favourite band. I don't think there's a single song by Metronomy that I don't like. There's some that I like more than others, but like there's not a song that I'm just like, ugh, I hate this song. Everything is good in its own way. But Nights Out is my favourite album by them. This is before the band became as it is now. They are now, I think there's 6 of them, including Joseph. But again, they're just his touring band. They don't actually make any of the music, or write any of it. And this was when it was just a 3-piece, and it's incredible. Like, I can't tell you how much I love this album. If you like sort of, I don't know who to, hot chip, maybe you can compare Metronomy to, sort of hot chip. It's like guitar music, but also very synth heavy, very electronic. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, which I love. I love music that's just a bit silly, and this is definitely that. And I love Metronomy very much, and I love this album. It's a very cherished possession of mine. Another album that is one of my cherished possessions that I love very, very, very much is Fontanelle by Babes in Toyland. I hate this cover because I hate dolls, but we're just gonna pretend we do not see it. Babes in Toyland are an incredibly underrated, I wouldn't say they're a riot girl band, but like punk girl band from the 90s. Courtney Love basically, her entire persona is just copied from Cat Bjelland, and Cat Bjelland I think did it a lot better and is a lot more authentic. We have a massive window in our living room and I feel like everyone's watching me. Their music is it's very much my kind of thing. It's not complicated, very easy, repetitive riffs, but they're so good and meaty, and I absolutely adore them. And this album, and the reason why this vinyl is so special to me, is that this album is not on any streaming platforms as far as I'm aware. It's definitely not on Spotify. If I want to listen to this when I'm not home, I have to listen to the YouTube. Like someone on YouTube has uploaded the entire album just on one video as well. It's not even like a playlist. So this is really special to me because you can't really, it's not very easily accessible, and it's just an incredible album. Bruised Violet, Mother, it's just a beautiful album. I love it so much. They're such an incredible band, and when we were on tour, my band were on tour, we did a cover of their song Sweet 69, which is on another album, but is a really good song. Next up is another album that we bought back, and this is Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads. This is a live album. I don't know what album they were touring, but you might have seen that they did a film of this as well. It's where David Byrne wears the massive suit. But I love this so much. I remember buying it and I'd never listened to Talking Heads before. I just knew that they were like cool, and this was in a vintage shop for like a few pounds. So I thought, well, might as well. I keep kicking the table, sorry. And I love it. A lot of these songs, I don't like the recorded version as much as I like the live versions, like Swamp and what else? Slippery People and Life During Wartime. I don't really like the recorded versions as much as I like this, because I love the sound of all the musicians singing and like the crowd cheering and clapping. It's just an experience listening to this album, and fucking hell, I wish I could have been at this show because it just looked amazing. And what an example of musicians just like having fun. And I remember reading somewhere that the bass player, she played for so long because she used her fingers were bleeding, which is commitment to the cause. The next album I wanted to talk about is Pink Moon by Nick Drake. This is very different to all of the other albums I've spoken about so far because this is a folk album. I love folk music. I used to be a really big fan of Frank Turner, like before he became more punk, like his older albums, but then he blocked me on Twitter, so not really a big fan of his anymore. But Elliott Smith, Keaton Henson, what the fuck? Sufjan Stevens, I forgot his name then for a second. And also, oh my god, who did Hallelujah? And So Real. Lilac Wine. Why can't I remember his name? Jeff Buckley. Thank you. I had a complete fucking brain fart then. And this is my favourite folk album, Pink Moon by Nick Drake. It's so beautiful. He's got a really haunting voice. It's really soft, and it's amazing, and it's just stunning. And this artwork is like one of my favourite things ever. It's so strange, but I love it, and I love this album very, very much. I highly recommend Bright Eyes. Obviously, I love Bright Eyes as well. So if you like nice, soft, kind of sad folk music, then you'd probably really, really enjoy this album. And this is one of my favourite vinyls to stick on if I'm reading, or sometimes if I'm just playing like Animal Crossing or something. This is really nice to put on in the background as well because it's very soothing. And this is the only Cure record I have on vinyl, and again, it's a compilation album. This is Japanese Whispers, and it is a compilation of singles between November 82 to November 83. So it's singles. I think some of them are on albums, but I love this so much. I love this artwork so much. But this has got Love Cats, this has got The Walk, Upstairs Room, it's got some of my favourite Cure songs on, and this is where they went through this phase of like, it's like, they went more like electro pop. This is before they delved into like real sad, so they were really heavily synth based, and I just adore it. Lots of good bass riffs, big old synth riffs, that's the sort of stuff I'm really into. And this is my favourite collection of singles, and this is one of my prized possessions because because I remember finding this in a record shop for like £3, and I was just like, how? Because I already knew I loved this compilation, and it's amazing. I love this on the back because it's got like, it's like Japanese whispers, Javanese hipsters, Janet's slippers, James's flipper, The Cure. This next one belongs to Pops, and these last three, oh no, I've got another one there as well. Yeah, so I've got three, the next three belong to Poppy, and the last one is mine. It's just a classic. Fleetwood Mac, Rumours. What an album. I only started listening to Fleetwood Mac in the past year. Yeah. I think specifically it was when we were on our way to Belgium. I decided that I was going to listen to Fleetwood Mac and get into them. And that was exactly a year ago today that I was in Belgium. So that's how long I've listened to Fleetwood Mac. I didn't grow up with Fleetwood Mac like a lot of people did. My mum is into like she's into like those like chilled vibes CDs, or she loves 80s disco. Like Earth, Wind and Fire, ABBA are her favourite bands. So that's what I grew up on, like disco, which I'm very grateful for because it's really shaped my music taste, and I think it's why I like synthy stuff so much. It's starting to get dark because I'm using the window for light, so hopefully it's still okay. But yeah, I think this is a really beautiful album. I think it deserves all of the attention that it gets, and I'm very glad that I decided that I was just going to start listening to them. It's not something I regret. And this is another album that's just really good to just stick on, especially if you've got people around. This is a classic. This next one is by a band called Girlpool, and this is the album Before the World Was Big. Girlpool are one of my favourite bands, and their progression has been so fascinating to watch. That makes it sound bad. No, that's not what I mean. So Avery, who is one of the singers, there's two singers. Avery is one of the members, and he is transgender, and he has transitioned through being in the band. So when he started the band, he was pre-transition and now transitioned. So it's been a very cool journey to watch of him writing music about issues he was having whilst in like pre-transition and now post-transition. And I feel like now their music is so much more confident and it's beautiful. Like Girlpool are a beautiful band. Their first few albums, all they had was guitar and bass, and that's what this album is. It's just guitar and bass. There's no drums or anything to it, and it's just guitars, bass, and them harmonizing. And honestly, it's so beautiful. And this is such a beautiful record. I really like their Girlpool like original self-titled EP as well, but their last album, which I can't remember what it's called right now, but I will put it somewhere maybe, is so incredible. And we saw them in Cambridge last year and it was amazing. And their latest single, Like I'm Winning It, it gives me goosebumps. Like, it's the sort of song that will be a perfect like film soundtrack song. Like, I can see like someone's just had an argument with someone and they're just gonna go and walk and do something like that they're gonna regret, and it's a perfect song for that walk, or like that journey of where they're going to, like a slow motion walk to that song. That would be amazing. Okay, we have 2 more to go, so let's get through it. This next one, which is the second to last one and another one that Poppy owns, is Warpaint. This is, I think, their self-titled because I didn't actually have a self-titled, and this is a really beautiful double LP, and I think they came out with this in 2017. This has Love Is To Die and Disco Berry on, things like that. I love Warpaint. I really do love Warpaint. My love for them has been tainted since I went to see them a very long time ago, like when I was like 17. And I think it was like the support band pulled out or something, but they didn't announce it. They didn't tell anyone that the support band wasn't playing, and they still came on at like 10. So everyone was waiting for like 3 hours because everyone got their doors opening at 7, and we were just waiting for hours for Warpaint to do an hour-long set. It was pretty bad, because if they had just said or like made an announcement or something on Facebook, like, you know, the support band's not playing anymore, then everyone would have got there later and we wouldn't have had to sit around there as teenagers sitting outside my house. I definitely wouldn't say that this album is my favourite Warpaint album. I do prefer their earlier works. Like, I really love the album that's got Bees on it. I can't remember exactly what album it is, but that song, Bees, and Billie Holiday, incredible songs. And I just wanted to talk about Warpaint very briefly. And then last but not least, I'm not going to talk about this too much because I spoke about this in my latest favourites video, but this is To Bring You My Love by PJ Harvey. PJ Harvey is my favourite solo artist. She's incredible, and as I explained in that favourites video, when her earlier years of her career, she was more like post-punk, punk, kind of rock, and then as she's got later on in her career, she's gone a bit more folk, and this album is the perfect bridge between those two genre phases of her career, because you've got some really strong punk elements in like Long Snake Moan and Meet the Monster, but then Come On Billy and Bring His Love to Me are very, very folk, you know, got accordions and violins and stuff. So it's got a perfect amount of each that I feel like it leads on so perfectly into like the rest of her discography. And she does have a few songs here and there, like a bit further on, that do have more sort of like punky elements to them. Like The Letter and stuff is a bit more like rocky. But, you know, she ended up, most of her music now is like acoustic guitar and piano based, and it's all beautiful. Like, her last two albums are anti-war concept albums. They're amazing. She is an incredible woman that I idolize very much, and I enjoy her entire career. So that's it. Those are all the records I wanted to talk about. I'm definitely planning on collecting more. I just am quite picky about what I buy to listen to on vinyl, because again, I want it to be something that I love from start to finish. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Eat good, drink good, and take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.